Well, hello again, it's Trudy here from Hot Patterns with part 4, our final part of our Blouse-Back T Sew-A-Long. Don't forget, this is the pattern we're dealing with, and so far we've obviously done parts 1, 2 and 3. In 1 we did preparing the pattern and the fabric. In part 2, which was kind of the big one, we did all our cutting out, including cutting stripes, making sure they were all gorgeous, and preparing our little bits and pieces. And then part 3, our last part, we put the basic body together. That's what you can see here. So in part 4, we're really going to just complete the garment. I mean, it's really that simple. This again, just like part 3, is another quick and easy one because of course you've worked so hard doing all your preparation. The putting together is absolutely simple. However, before we do that, there's a couple of things I want to do. Well, one thing now and one thing in the middle of it. The first thing is, we had on our Facebook sewing group for our sew-along, we've had some really interesting discussions brought up about sizing, about how to fit this garment, how to choose the right size. Now, the unfortunate thing is I can't say to you, oh, do it this way, because it depends. This is the answer to almost every sewing question, actually almost every question in life, I think. It depends. It depends on your fabric choice, it depends on your physique, like the way you hold yourself, and your proportions, and it also depends on how you like things to fit. So you've got all those factors into play. It's a bit kind of test and adjust as you go. But my main hints for you is this, or are these. I would say when it comes to you fitting your blouse-back t-shirt, you need to fit the bulk of you first. You know, if you're, let's say you're a size 12 but you're blessed with a very generous bust, cut the size 12, or on your pattern trace off the size 12 and kind of adjust for your bust after that. You know, maybe put in some extra area through the bust, either slash and spread or add a dart or whatever you need to do. If you've got very broad or very narrow shoulders, get everything else kind of as it should be and then adjust your shoulders broad or narrow. And you can do that very easily by just tipping the armhole in or tipping it out. You don't have to go up a size or down a size. The other thing to tell you, which people don't often discuss when they're talking about fitting garments, is it's perfectly okay to use one size front and a different size to the back. Yeah, it is. It really is. You may find, for instance, let's say you're the the lucky person who's got a physique just like mine with a rather advanced tummy. There's nothing wrong with you using a larger front and going down 1 or even up to 2 sizes for the back, if that's your narrower part, or vice versa. You know, you may be quite flat through the front and then have a more generous bottom, shall we say. So you can use a bigger size for the bottom. It's really up to you, and the trick is, don't be scared of blending sizes, mixing and matching. You know, if you want to have a looser sleeve, then cut a looser armhole, a bigger armhole and a bigger sleeve. If you want to have a tighter one, go down a size. It's really one of those things you have to test and adjust. And the reason I can't give you, or let's put it this way, I'm going to compare to you how t-shirts or all garments are made in production in a factory, in a sample room, that are going to be sold, thousands of them. What happens is you will get a roll of the fabric you're going to use, 20 yards, 30 yards, whatever, and you'll sit down, you'll work through it, and you'll make as many iterations of that particular garment as you need to get the fit just as you want it. Now, of course, as home sewers, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bring in a roll of 30 yards of fabric and just, you know, crash out the same t-shirt over and over again. We're not going to do that. So we have to accept that when it comes to home sewing, there's a little bit of kind of living on the edge there and just kind of going for it and doing what you can. But I have faith in you, and I know if you just basically slow it down and take your time, you will get fantastic results from it. Okay, so now we are on to properly part 4, finishing the garment. So what we need to do now is we need to add our neckband. This is the next step. You really need to do this next. You can, of course, do everything else first, then come back and do the neckband if you want to make your life harder. Why would you do that? I don't understand that at all. Okay, so I'm doing this on the blue one because reasons you'll see in a little while. I'm doing this on the blue one. And the blue one, of course, is quite stretchy. It's got a little bit more lycra than the black and white one. But I really want to show you this. So I'm going to pin this here, long shot again, and then I'm going to bring the neckband certainly right up to the camera, and I'll try and pull the camera in so you can see the neckline as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put pins, a lot of pins around our neckline and our neckband. So here we go. Pin box, trusty pin box. we've got our neckband, and what we want to do is find the seam. There is the seam. Trust me, that's the seam. Fold it in half with the seam at one end, and you'll find your centre here, the other centre. So put a pin in, I'd say just on one edge, because we don't want to get things complex. And then we've got it in half now. Quarter it, so fold it in half again. So more pins, you can just put your finger there if you want to unfold it. More pins into your neckband. Of course I'm pinning through all the thicknesses which I don't want to. Okay, so now we've got 4 pins. They're all equidistant, they are at equal points on your neckband. Now if you are a newer sewer or you've got a very naughty fabric that wants to kind of skitch around, you might want to put some more, you might want to go in between each pin and pin it up like that again. And in fact I think I'm going to do that just because I can, and it'll be much easier to pin it on when I'm done. However, let's just work on 4 for the moment. We've got into quarters, so we've quartered it up. And we're going to do the same thing on the neckline. The neckline has already got a centre front notch and a centre back notch, so we know where they are, easy peasy. It does not, however, have side notches, as in the other 2 quarters. It doesn't have those yet. And you can't go by the shoulder seam because that is not correct. Your quarter of your neckline is always going to come a little bit forward of your shoulder seam, or pretty much always. So let me show you how to do that. Pick up the centre back, pick up the centre front. Doesn't matter if it's right sides together or wrong sides together, we don't care on this one, we're just pinning. And hold it in half like this. Okay, so that's your half. And then fold it in half again. Make sure you've got both thicknesses. You can of course go and do this one side at a time. And I'm just gently pulling it to make sure that my seams, my 2 shoulder seams from the left and the right side line up, and they do, and that is my quarter piece there. So I'm going to put that and put my pins in here. Okay. So now I have quartered it up. There are 4 pins. Like I said, I'll come in really, really closely with the camera in a moment and show you the pins, and you'll go, oh, okay, that's what she means. So there are 4 pins at equal points around my neckline, and they are going to match where I've placed my 4 pins on here. Don't forget, my neckband is a little bit smaller than the circumference of my neckline, and that's what it needs to be. This needs to kind of pull a little bit when it goes on. I may end up shortening this, which is why I didn't notch it when I cut it, and I'm just using pins, not snipping into the fabric. So I'm now going to come up closely with the camera and show you exactly what I mean. So I'm hoping you can see all the details here. Here's our seam on our neckband, and that corresponds to the pin to denote our centre back on our yoke. There is the centre front, see I put a pin there, and there's the centre front notch on the front. Here, I'm really hoping you can see that. Let me just lift that up there, so I think we can get it better that way. Maybe not, who knows. Here is the shoulder seam, and your front quadrant, should we say, is marked a little forward of the front of the shoulder seam, and there's the matching pin there. So these 4 quarters are going to match up to these 4 quarters. I'm going to go in and pin extras in here. I'm going to halve it up again, or quarter up again, like that, so we get 8s. I'm going to do that on this, and I'm going to pin it onto it, and I'm going to show you, and we're going to decide, make an executive decision on do we shorten the neckband or do we not, and I'll show you how I usually check that. Okay, so I've done my pinning of my neckband. My neckband is pinned onto the neckline of my t-shirt, and I can see really very easily it's coming up too big. That's because this fabric is very, very stretchy. It's really like, ugh, it's got a lot of give to it. And you can tell this by the fact that it's just kind of flopping around here. But there's another good way to look at it, which is, I mean, you can always just pick it up and have a look and you'll see. But the other good way to do it is to put it on a hanger. Let's see if we can do battle with this one. There we go. Now, when you put it on a hanger, you can kind of see the back isn't actually too bad. That's not too bad at all. But the front bit baggy and saggy. We don't want that. What you really don't want is your neckband kind of tipping forward and just kind of hanging there. That's not so good. So I'm going to take out, I normally do my adjustments in kind of inch or 2 inch increments. I'm going to take out 2 inches from this because I can see that that will work really well. So I'm going to take out my 2 inches. That just means unpin, take out your 2 inches and then quarter it up again and repin it and just double check. And you do that till you get it looking how you want to. Like I say, back's not too bad, front, no, not so much. So yeah, I think 2 inches will do it, and I will do that and put that on, and obviously you'll see it in the next step. However, before we go there, we are going to quickly talk about the black and white one. If you remember when we did the first part of this, I showed you 2 different samples on the stands. I showed you my prototype and I showed you another version that had an inserted band around the neckline, inserted between the neckband and the body, to have an extra neckband. And I said, I'm going to show you how to do it. Well, I am. Well, I kind of am, and I'm kind of not. I'm going to show you how to do a single version of that, which actually rolls. It's like a rolled kind of trim, and you can do this really easily with fabric like this. This is the one we're using for our back, and you can do it easily like this because it rolls all by itself. Do you see that? And this is the kind of trim you'll see, you know, on very kind of high-end casual wear, because it's just a nice trim to use. So it's the same principle as doing an inserted band. If you wanted to make an extra band to insert between your bodice and your neckband, then you just make it kind of 2/3 of the thickness or half the thickness or whatever, and just layer them up before you pin them together. But this one's a single one. So what I did was this: I cut, I want to say half the width of my neck and sleeve bands. I cut those out and I made them into loops just like those. So I've got these. Okay, I'm going to show you what happens. In fact, I'll show you from here and I'll come in really close. When you have a fabric like this that rolls, you want to encourage it. You want to do that. And you see it's kind of pinged in somewhat. That's what it's going to do when it's sitting up there. So you'll have your seam allowance, we'll get rid of a lot of it, and then we'll just be a nice little roll. The reason I'm doing that, the reason I'm adding this trim, partly to show you, but also because I've got 2 separate fabrics on the black and white. I've got this black and white rayon and lycra stripe, and then I've got a rayon slub. They don't match properly, but putting in little extra trims like this on other areas kind of pulls it all together. It makes it look like it's all meant to happen. It looks like you haven't kind of got a fabric that doesn't match. You've made a considered design decision, which we always like those. Okay, so I am going to basically come in now and show you very closely, and then I will show you how it looks when it's pinned onto the sleeve and neck bands before I go away and quarter it and do exactly what I did for the blue one. So this is what happens. See, we've got this strip here. When you pull it, it kind of rolls in. That's the effect we're looking for. Now I thought I'd show you the same rolling effect. This is one of the sleeve bands I've just pinned it onto. So I've pinned it onto the edge that I'm going to be joining it to the t-shirt, and that's the folded edge here. And if I do this, you will see that you can kind of persuade it to roll up quite nicely. If you do this and you find that your roll bit is too thick, then you can just unfold it and trim it down. But really, I guess this is going to be pretty darn perfect just as it is. I think you can see that now I've taken that extra 2 inches out of the neckband, it's laying beautifully. Don't forget, it's a matter of testing and adjusting as you go. So this is my kind of rolled bit here. This is like my little rolled trim, and it's going to actually roll more when it's been through the washer and dryer a couple of times. That's just how it works. But it's a nice kind of extra trim that isn't too obvious and just gives it a bit more kind of a layered effect, which is really pretty. So now you've seen the neckband as it is and the neckband with an extra trim. We're now going to move on to the next part, which is doing the side seams and the front hem. And so now we have got our neckbands done, we are now going to do the side seam of this. This is kind of the key to this, or it's one of the few keys to this. And I can show you long shots, sort of far away here, I can show you how we're going to pin it. And then I have to come up very close to the camera and show you how we do this area here, the bottom, the side seam bottom, because that kind of, everything's enclosed through that. It's quite a cool trick to use. I'm not even sure what a technical term is for that. I don't even know if there is one. I just call it a wrapped hem, because you wrap one of the hems around the other one and it gives you a nice clean finish. So how we're going to do it is this. We are going to start, obviously, right sides together. I say obviously, but if you're a new sewer, well, maybe a bit of a news to you, not sure. And then I'm going to just roughly pin, really more for kind of keeping it, you know, so it behaves itself, pin my side seams together. And this is just like what you do as normal. And I'm going to get down to the bottom here, and again, like I say, I'm going to come in a moment and show you really, really closely. And I'm going to join this. I'm going to match this up to the notch. This is the bit you need to see closely. So I'm just going to put a pin here and a couple of pins in the side seam and come in very, very tight so you can see exactly what I am talking about. Okay, so this is my bottom of my side seam. There is the back. See, it's all hemmed, and I've lined up the finished bit of the back hem with my bottom edge, my bottom finished edge, which, remember we were cutting stripes? I said I wanted to have a black stripe here, so that's the finished one. And notice I have left the threads here on the blouse back. I have done this on purpose, not just because I'm too lazy to cut them off, although that's often the case. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to wrap, we've got right sides together, we're going to wrap this part of the hem right around that one. Okay, so we pin the three thicknesses together just to hold them. And when I sew it, I'm just going to tug on this like that to make sure it all kind of lays where it should. And we're going to sew all the way up here, up to, where is it? Oh yes, up to the armhole, and then just that little bit down there. We're going to do it on both sides, so you're going to have this nice wrapped hem. And I'm going to do both of them. Before I turn one of them out, I'll show you what it looks like and why it gives you such a nice clean finish. Now, before I clip the corners off, I just wanted to show you how this turns out. So we've got our hem wrapped around, our front hem is wrapped around our back one, and we've sewn through the three thicknesses from the bottom all the way up. That's our front, that's our hem allowance. Remember, we've got our little threads here to just tug like that. And when you're sewing it, just to pull the blouse back a bit straighter really. So obviously I'm going to clip the corners off, this corner here, but until I do, let me just quickly show you this. When you flip it out, that is what you've got. Ooh, nice. So everything's all contained inside here. Can you see that? Nice and clean. So even if people do see, you know, if the the bottom of your t-shirt flaps up at all, you know, when you're walking around, it's all nice and contained. Oh, and the other thing I should tell you is this: I did not use a zigzag stitch on the side seams because I don't need a vertical stretch. So I just did a straight stitch, but really that's entirely up to you. Shallow zigzag, straight stitch, you choose. So here we are, we're on the home straight now. This is our final few little things to do to finish off our beautiful blouse-back tees. So we've done our side seams, and I think you can see it much better on the black and white one than you can on the blue and white one, because of course you've got contrast here. We've got this really nice kind of neat side seam area, so it's all nice and clean looking. You'll find the seam allowance needs to be pressed forwards, which is quite unusual. It needs to be pressed towards the front. Normally it goes to the back, but just the way the hem goes when it's done, that's how you need to do it. Now I'm going to hem both my front hems, this one which has been done with the shallow zigzag, and this one which has been done with the overlocker. I'm going to use a straight stitch on my normal straight stitch machine for both of these hems, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I really hate seeing zigzag used as a hem. It really makes me, oh, I can't stand it. But that's just like a personal thing. But the second thing is, I don't actually need a horizontal stretch on this t-shirt to make it fit, certainly not at the hem area. I mean, around this area here, stretch is good. The rest of it doesn't need it, we don't care. So I'm going to use a straight stitch, and because I'm sewing actually I was sewing in the white stripe here, because of course I cunningly used the black stripe as my finished edge. I'm just going to put it through the machine, and when I'm sewing it, kind of towards the top of that white stripe, I'm just going to give it a tiny little pull, little, just for a little bit of give, and then when I've sewn it and I've pressed it and give it a bit of steam, it'll come back in again, and it'll also just hang better, it'll just look nicer. So that's the thing we've got to do for the hem. We'll do the same thing on both hems, straight stitch with a little bit of a pull, and the final thing to do, of course, is sleeve band. Sleeve band is done in exactly the same way as the neckband. So we quarter it up, we quarter up our sleeve, we add one to the other. And something I've just noticed, I feel quite, not my smartest move, but clearly I was thinking of something else when I did this. For some reason I've trimmed a little off this sleeve, and I don't know why, so it's a shorter sleeve than it should be, but the blue one's the correct length. Don't ask me why these things happen, they just do. But that's all okay, because let's face it, it's a t-shirt, a nice casual groovy t-shirt, and it's going to look beautiful no matter what. So I'm now going to go and hem it and put the sleeve bands on, and we'll take a look at our finished blouse-back tee. So here we are all done. We're done with our sew-along for our fast and fabulous blouse-back tee. Don't forget, that's what we started with. Nice simple pattern. This is for an advanced beginner, so even if you're a beginner, once you've watched the sew-along, I'm fairly confident that you will be able to do this and make a beautiful job of it. So there's the black and white version. Obviously I'm wearing the blue version. There's the front. There's your blouse back, looking rather zhuzhy. And I think I'll just turn this one around so you can see this. Excuse the squeak, by the way. But you can see it looks really, really lovely. We've got our stripe all nice and neat. This rolled trim on the neckband, once it's been through the laundry a couple of times, it's going to roll back even more, which is great. But it still looks nice now. So you've got lots of options for variations. Lots of options for really personalising it, making it absolutely yours. So now you've seen how easy it is to make, and I hope the sew-along's been useful, I'm sure it has. And now you also know how to cut out stripes. You have no excuse for not making stripy t-shirts now. Now I suggest you rush off and make a whole bunch of them. And thank you very much for watching.